Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, brought to you by BetDSI, and I'm your host, Mitchell Renz. Please follow me on Twitter, at MitchellRenz365 for your latest Raiders news, rumors, and anything else I could potentially think about for the Oakland Raiders. I got 5 free agents that the Raiders could look to sign in 2019. Now, there is no particular, ranking for them. It's just 5 players who I think that could make an initial impact right away for the Raiders in 2019, who, let's all face it, definitely need a lot of help in 2019. First guy coming up here on the board, it's Bryce Callahan, and I like Bryce a lot, especially when, he's been pretty solid this year for the Bears, but the Raiders are in need of help all over the secondary. Jadeveon Clowney and Karl Joseph have been playing well down the stretch, but everywhere else can be improved. Bryce Callahan has had a breakout season for the Chicago Bears, ranking in the top 10 amongst cornerbacks according to Pro Football Focus. With how much the teams are running 11 personnel, if you don't know what 11 personnel is, 3 wide receivers, a tight end, and a running back, slot corners have become one of the most critical positions in football. The Raiders will likely select another outside corner during the draft, but Callahan brings the ability in the slot the Raiders have not had for a while. He's also not a household name, so the Raiders may be able to get him for a lot cheaper. And as you can see here on his stats, he's played all 12 games. He's been reliable for the Bears. 6 pass breakups to 2 picks, 43 tackles. I think this kid's going to be pretty good down the stretch. Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, brought to you by BetDSI, and I'm your host, Mitchell Renz. Please follow me on Twitter, at MitchellRenz365, and remember to subscribe to youtube.com/Raiders Report, where I'm pumping out a whole bunch of new content, and if you want to be on the show, like Raider Nation Rumors, subscribe below, youtube.com/Raiders Report. Next player that the Raiders could look at in 2019 free agency, now this guy is a big name, a big household name. The Raiders lack attitude and toughness on the defensive side of the ball, and safety Landon Collins lacks in neither. After a rough rookie year, Collins is in the midst of his 3rd straight very good season, showing the ability to come up and make plays at the line of scrimmage while also being able to hold his own in coverage. Collins is the total package at the safety position. The New York Giants do not figure to be in the playoff team anytime soon, especially with the issues that they're having at quarterback. Heck, maybe they should play Odell Beckham at quarterback. And they've had already shown that they're willing to get rid of some of their star cornerstone pieces of their defense. Now, Landon Collins is 96 tackles, super physical, 1 forced fumble. He doesn't have any interceptions, but again, he's a player who's playing in all 12 games, which is something that the Raiders need, especially in that secondary. So, I want to know from you, okay? Would Landon Collins look good in some silver and black? I think I look pretty good in silver, and yeah, my Mizzen+Main shirt makes me look pretty good as well. But would Landon Collins look good in silver and black? I want you to type D for duh, or type E for ew. I'm typing my D for duh. I think I would love to see Landon Collins in that secondary for the Raiders, but it's going to be a lot of money to get that guy going in there. Speaking of looking good, I mentioned it. I'm wearing Mizzen+Main, and you guys can too. Go to www.comfortable.af to get your hands on one of these shirts. I sweat all the time in it, but you can't tell because there's sweat-wicking technology. And also, guess what? They're super flexible, stretchable. I could probably do jumping jacks. That was bad. No, I won't do that. But go get yourself your someone. Comfortable.af, Mizzen+Main. All right, next free agent in 2019, it could be Jadeveon Clowney. And I talked about Jadeveon Clowney in my Raider Nation rumors, so if you missed that, go back and look on my chances of Jadeveon Clowney ultimately becoming a Raider. Now, one of the most logical free agent signings for the Raiders this offseason could be Clowney because he's just an initial fit. They traded Khalil Mack. I know, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say Khalil Mack, but the Raiders ultimately traded Mack, and Clowney is a freak outside linebacker with great ability to get after the quarterback, and he's only 25 years old, and sure, it's going to be a lot of money. You could be looking at $100 million over 6 years, which is $16.6 million. But maybe they could get him a little bit cheaper because there's no way the Texans are going to be able to re-sign him because they're going to pay J.J. Watt. They're not going to pay Jadeveon Clowney. And when you just look at what he's done this year, and 32 tackles, 7 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and then 1 touchdown. He is an absolute difference maker on defense, and I think he could also add a lot more learning. He could teach a player like Arden Key, right? Arden Key's got all this upside, long and lanky like Clowney. Maybe he could just slide in, and these two could be an absolute wrecking crew for the Raiders for a lot of years to come. So, Clowney to the Raiders. Do you like it? Type L for like, or do you hate it? Type H for hate. I think you're kind of drunk if you don't like Jadeveon Clowney coming to the Raiders. I think it would be an amazing fit. The Raiders have some money. Maybe spending a lot of money on Clowney, not such a bad idea. So for me, I'm typing my L for love, or L for like it. I like it a lot. Next one coming up here, top free agent targets in 2019, C.J. Mosley, another linebacker. So, pass rusher is the Raiders' biggest need right now, definitely in my opinion, but linebacker is a close second. The team doesn't have a quality starter at the position. However, there are several players in free agency and in the draft that should be able to help the Raiders fill this void. One of my favorites is C.J. Mosley of the Baltimore Ravens. Mosley was the 17th pick in the 2014 NFL Draft and has been a star ever since he's entered the league. He's been a second-team All-Pro linebacker 3 times in his career and just keeps improving every season. Mosley will command top dollar in free agency, but he's well worth it. Expect the Raiders to make multiple moves at linebacker this offseason, and I'm really hoping C.J. Mosley is one of them. Now, he's played in 11 games. Sure, he doesn't have any sacks, but he's just an absolute tackle monster year in and year out, and he's literally the focal point of one of the best defenses in the NFL. Heck, we just went up against the Ravens 2 weeks ago, and C.J. Mosley, big reason why the Raiders definitely did not put up a lot of points. So, I want to know from you. I talked about some defensive ends. I've talked about corners, safeties, every position. What's the Raiders' biggest need in free agency? Do you want them to go get a big-name linebacker? Maybe a defensive end? Quarterback? I hope not. So, what's the Raiders' biggest need in free agency? I want you guys to comment below. I would definitely appreciate that. If you want to watch some of these big-name players for the Raiders next year, guess what? You're going to bet on it at BetDSI. You're going to go to chatsports.com/bet. You're going to use promo code LIVE120 for a 120% deposit bonus. Mitch, what does that mean? You're going to put down $50, you'll get $60 for free. You put down $100, get $120 for free. If you're a big baller, put down $500, get $600 for free. Okay? Shout out to BetDSI for hooking up Chat Sports with the best promo code on the internet. Next top free agent target in 2019, it's Golden Tate. And I kind of hate that Golden Tate ended up going to the Eagles because it kind of ticks me off. Golden Tate was a super productive wide receiver for the Detroit Lions, and now he's just not a good fit. And I think it's putting a little bit of shame on Golden Tate's name. And when I look at Golden Tate's skill set, I think he would fit really well with the Raiders. And I know I write dink and dunk offense on the screen there, but the Raiders are kind of having a dink and dunk offense. And adding Golden Tate, who is just an absolute monster out of the slot and who's led the NFL the last 2 years in yards after the catch, it won't happen this year, but he has the past 2 years in yards after the catch, could be a great option for the Raiders to just insert into their starting lineup. Now, he's seen 89 targets, 55 catches, 614 yards and 3 touchdowns, and most of that damage was done before going to the Eagles because he has only had, in 3 games with the Eagles, 97 receiving yards. It's just not a good fit, and I think he sees that he's not a good fit in the Eagles. Maybe he wants to come to Oakland. So, I want to know from you, would Golden Tate be a good fit in the Raiders' offense? Would you type G for good or T for terrible? I'm typing my G for good. I think it would be a great fit. I think if he could work out of the slot, be a reliable option for Derek Carr, then we wouldn't have to rely so much on Jared Cook, who is having a Pro Bowl type season. But adding Golden Tate, who could also help some of these younger receivers, help Derek Carr mature a little bit, I would love it. So I'm typing my G. I think it would be a good fit. Heck, I think it would be a great fit. Golden Tate, if you're watching, come to Oakland. All right, next one, or top free agents targets in 2019 for the Raiders. As I stated before, I got Bryce Callahan, a solid young cornerback from the Bears, who's having a much better season. Then you got Landon Collins, who's an absolute monster as a strong safety for the Giants. There's a reason why he was 2016 All-Pro First Team. Jadeveon Clowney, long and lanky, 25 years old, a freak athlete. He would be able to step right in and just be a monster next to Arden Key. C.J. Mosley, 77 tackles for the Ravens in 11 games. Sure, 0 sacks, but he could be a captain on that defense. Something much like what Navarro Bowman gave the Raiders, I think C.J. Mosley could be. And then Golden Tate, I already basically gave my entire love story for Golden Tate. Could be great for the Raiders, could be great for Derek Carr, could be great for this young receiving core that's in desperate need of a receiver who could rack up yards after the catch. Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, and I'm your host, Mitchell Renz. Please follow me on Twitter, at MitchellRenz365 for your latest Raiders news, rumors, and Raider Nation rumors. That's all the time I got for today, and I'm going to be back later in the week with some more Raiders news. So until then, go Raiders.